things too. We're going to talk about things this afternoon. I hope you can enjoy it. Lovely sunny afternoon. The cloud we had earlier today has dissipated considerably. In fact, not even a patch of it in the sky except for in the east, but I think that's more patches of smoke than anything else. Time of the year when there are a lot of wildfires, the bush is drying up, but more than that, it's drying up after a few very very good, very adequate wet seasons. If not more so, we've had some flooding. So a lot more rain equals a lot more grass. A lot more grass means a lot more burning material, means a lot more combustibility. A lot more material to burn. Wildfires become quite a problem all over Africa this time of the year, except in the Cape. Down near Cape Town in the Western Cape, it's a wet winter, dry summer. Smoky, hazy skies this time of the year. We had some good weather come through though. The cloud that we had that came through tended to wash the sky clean, but now a bit of cloud, a bit of smoke in the east. So fat, he got a beer belly. So he's getting self-conscious now. Wildebeest behind the tree, but the big impala ram, he's so big, he looks, I think he's got a very round belly. I made him self-conscious now. Hiding away. But no, sorry, there's healthy impala and they're round bellied. He's a round-bellied impala. What the females are going to look like in a few months' time when they're pregnant. Can't say. I don't have much room to speak, actually. Don't exactly carry a six-pack myself. Sorry. Oh, it fell off. Yeah, you did. Maybe we're sort of the same age equivalent. Yeah. That was very funny. Thanks. That's very... Drive questions at wildearth.tv is our email address. And looking forward to hearing from you this afternoon, wherever you may be. Europe, England, the Americas, Australia, New Zealand, India. I'm going to name countries where I know we have viewers. South Africa. Europe, the Netherlands, Germany, France. I had a question once from Siberia. Had a doctor in... Where are you from? I'm trying to think now where that was. Czech Republic or something. Japan. Mexico. We're just going to touch on the eastern boundary of the reserve. This is not a thing I do very often, although I have been doing it of late. But within reason. Not that I'm looking for elephants today, and on other occasions I was looking for the Hellies today. It is a means to an end. It is a way to cross the river at a different crossing than I'm usually crossing. I want to come this way because who knows what might be lurking along the stretch of the Thornybush River. Seen a lot of buffalo. A little bit of water. It's just the digger singing. Two military type people walking towards us with automatic weapons. No, I'm serious. No joke. One looks like an AK-47 maybe, and another one is wielding a machete. Abshir, enjoy. Pamgurai. Bonili nyamazan kupezulu kule. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Lagu bonus kantu lagu. Yeah. Because. Okay. Okay. Tabonile ngin. That lele ufamba phezulu from Vasiva Gama session left. Doesn't matter. I don't know. Have you got another patrol somewhere? Okay. Yeah. There's another two. Yeah. Okay, thanks guys. Pambakash. Angko muso. Armed patrols. Unfortunately, in the world that we live in these days, it is necessary. In the old days, in my youth, I don't know, in days when I suppose populations of elephant and rhino were threat elsewhere, when I suppose those populations that were being hammered outside of South Africa acted maybe as South Africa's buffer zone. When they were being hammered by poachers, we were safe and we didn't need poachers or anti-poaching patrols because of it. But in this day and age, South Africa is even at a war, as could be said. The number of rhino that are being poached, if we had this many soldiers dying, we only had a few soldiers, maybe 13 soldiers dying in the Central African Republic recently. If we had this many soldiers dying at the rate of nearly 2 a day, South Africa would have declared war on Central Africa. I mean, we would be engaging in the equivalent warfare that I was involved in with troops in Angola and Southwest Africa War in the 1970s and 1980s. Zebra and giraffe are down the bottom here. But it's not that way anymore. All those populations of rhino and elephant elsewhere in Africa have been destroyed. They're wiped out. They do not exist. And so I guess what it is that brought those unscrupulous people to our, not only to our doorstep, but into our home, into the very reason why Thornybush is a protected reserve, why they won't drop their fences, to protect the animals that still exist there. Because quite clearly with this, even though I live in the Kruger and the greater Kruger, the animals aren't safe there anymore. vast area, and then somehow the elephant and rhino are going to reach close. It's going unchecked. Hello zebra, hello nyala. I'm sorry, I'm talking about a really bad subject. I want your ears to hear it. There's our stallion. There's our little female giraffe who hangs out with our zebra herd. This is the first time we found our little zebra herd on the northern side of the river. Why are you... Still missing the mare and her foal. Leslie, you must let me stop where I need to stop, please, because I'm watching their behavior. I've pushed them now. If we'd stopped earlier, they would have stopped, and then we can approach after a little while. Anyway, so to cut a long story short, it's great that a lot of revenue is being spent now on protecting some of the last remaining, and to have private reserves like Thornybush and like Salati, where I do some work, and have private companies offering armed security patrols that are patrolling 24 hours a day. Nothing gets unnoticed. What I was asking the gentleman there earlier was to see their boots, just so that I know what their footprints look like, so that if I see anything different I can report it, because they patrol this little bit of a region. And I asked them about an area to the west of us where I've seen other footprints. In fact, I've seen a pair of sneakers, not these boots, and because these boots are issued boots. And I've seen footprints that I needed to know whether there was another patrol to the west, and they told me that there was. There were another two guys that operate a little bit further west of here. So, very well patrolled. Very often on drive we see footprints. And well, that's a necessary step in trying to save the animals that still exist here in Thornybush, whatever they may be. They move deeper in. Maybe they can move into that little pan area. We might see them from further around. There's good green grasses down here for the zebra, and the little giraffe is just keeping up with them because she doesn't really have other females in this area. It's possible that if female herd came through here, she might join up with them, but until that time, for her to go wandering off on her own to find a herd of giraffe, it's not the same as if she was a young male giraffe. We would have a lot more confidence perhaps, but also he would be able to join up or tag along with older bulls. It's not in the nature of a young female giraffe to tag along with the bachelor herd or a bunch of bulls like we saw this morning, or even an old bull. There was a big old bull that showed a little bit of interest in her the other day, but it seems he's moved on. And then far to the northwest there was a small bachelor herd that we encountered today. A few days ago there were 4 of them, today there were 5 of them. Bulls. And they've moved further north, so they're far away from her. She needs a bunch of females, older females that she could join up with. One day it'll happen. One day they'll come through here. I have to talk to myself. Or it appears that I'm talking to myself, but I'm actually talking to all of you. Lodge, ride along with one of their guides. Oh, look at this. This is a banded dropwing dragonfly. I don't know, do you think you can get it? I want to get a photograph of it. Hello, Nicola. Don't have enough data. I don't know what has been seen today. See if I can get it on the wrong side of it. Actually, if I could maybe move somehow to the... Yeah. The banded dropwing, I think. Oh. But sometimes they come back to their place. Might come back. Oh, he's gone up there. Blue abdomen. Yeah, she's coming back to one of these. They always come back to their best hunting perches. Nicola looking for the... Go forward. You can see why it's called a dropwing. I'm going to try and get around it a little bit. I would love to get a photograph of this dragonfly. But I'll move my hand. And he's not a youngster either. Really tattered wings. Oh, I'll move this branch. Branch the second best hunting spot. Read error on this camera. I almost lost it. Look quickly. Butterflies. Dragonflies, lace wings. And before experiment they are. Damselflies. Damsels, distinct difference between damselflies, dragonflies. In fact, it's not even in this book. There's the banded groundling. That's a different butterfly entirely. And the dropwing is in a different book. There's the red vein dropwing, but it's not showing me the dropwing that this one is. Because the book can't show everybody. Somebody has to be left out of the book. Don't tell this dragonfly when he comes back. But he was left out of the book. I think it's the banded dropwing. And the male, because the females are a bit more drab without the banding on the wings. Dragonflies are uniquely designed. In fact, they're ergonomically designed. It's probably one of the earliest insects. You know that there were dragonflies that flew with the dinosaurs that had 6-foot wingspans. Yeah. Imagine a dragonfly with 16 wingspan. It's be able to pick up Maltese poodles in people's backyards. Those barking handbags. Sorry, just a really backward joke. But yes, dragonflies is something there. Yo, stand by. Something with a big nuchal muscle splashing along the edge of the river there, feeding on something. Could be a poodle. Angle off here a little bit. What is that? Buffalo? Yes, that's a buffalo. Okay, we'll see him when we drop down onto the river as we go around this clump of trees. Go ahead. Jordan! As we say in South Africa, how's it? How's it is a shortened way of hello, how are you? We just say how's it? How's it, dude? Jordan wants to know if there's a lot of hippo in Africa and if there are any hippo here at Thornybush. Yes and yes, and there's no depends on this question. It's straightforward on. Yes, there are a lot of hippo in Africa in many different countries. There are even hippo that live in the rivers that flow out into the sea. You sometimes even find in some places hippo surfing in the waves like dolphins. Places like East Africa and West Africa. And even once upon a time down on the north coast of South Africa. The buffalo just around this corner. Yeah, there he is. We do have hippo in some of the dams here, and we've even had hippo in our morning drive on these very roads that we're driving. We haven't seen hippo yet, because we have to get to the dams where they sleep during the day. So I'm going to try and head sideways to this big old buffalo. He looks very calm and peaceful, but he could cause quite a bit of damage if he decided to headbutt us at the moment. He feels the threat. Full of mud, caked in mud. And I just want to get a little bit this side for the lighting. And give him. I was going to just try and turn, but the lighting is much better now. Hello, man. Can I share some of your flyers? No, I don't need to share some of that. That's rude. Catch the sun. See how chipped his horns are. They're chipped. See how just the patina of his horns. He's been around quite a long time. show off. So it's been a while then. Waited the last 8 hours for this one moment that we get just so that you could do that. Yes, and that look tells me yes, quite rightly so. Covering of the mud serves many purposes. I suppose now going into the dry season, sorry, don't like me talk. Don't look at me like that. Can I talk now? Coating himself in mud, especially now in the dry season when the flies can get quite irritated. Talking about your flies, dude. The mud helps protect him from their irritation. Maybe not only their biting, but also their little clouds of flies. Also their just crowding him, just tickling. You know what it's like when you get a fly on your face? Irritating. When they go up your nose and into the corner of your eye for the moisture. He's also standing like that for a reason. He's using his own body to shade his face. We're going to leave you, old man. We'll see you tomorrow. You'll probably find you hanging around camp or something tonight. You must be one of the bulls that comes into camp. Shall we move on? Bye, Boyki. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Helicopter. So, Jordan, one of these days we'll find some info in one of the dams that we can visit, because at the moment they're in some of the other dams that, although I've been to them and I've seen them, but we don't get a signal area from those dams or water holes, and so can't really get the live camera there to show you. Just take my word for it. One of these days they will be at Langwan Dam or Waxel Pan. We found their tracks at those areas, at those water holes. Okay. Time to arm yourself to the stick and do battle with the tree. Take it from the branch that's touching you. One at a time. That's good on this side of the antenna, right next to the antenna, because then it will. No. hold the stick as close to the antenna as you can, because holding it further away means you've got to reach higher up. No, let me try a different angle. This tree that is my nemesis here. Okay, I actually managed to find the second time. I did it with Aaron once. The second time, the fine line where we didn't even have to use the stick. Let's see, I need to just... This is like having an extra appendage on my own body, knowing that there's this antenna out there and being able to see exactly where it needs to move. Unfortunately, it sticks out the back a little bit, so I can swing the tail and try and manipulate it. Okay, perfect. Question coming from the Netherlands. Simone. Hello, Simone. Goedemiddag, I think. Or goedendag. I don't know. I mixed up my Afrikaans, my German, and my Dutch to try and speak Dutch. Goeiedag. Probably the best way to say it. And Simone is asking if there is a problem with ticks and with Lyme disease. And the answer is yes and no. There's another buffalo. No, it's not. Behind some bushes. I'll find you another Yala. We're going to get up to Neleti Road. I want to see what happens to these elephants. Nicola was supposed to look. So, ticks we have plenty. Fortunately for us humans, 90% of the ticks that you might find here are species specific in the animal that play host to them. In other words, there are a lot of ticks. In fact, I'll find you a tick right now, probably. Now that I'm looking, I'll look on grass stalks. I'll see if I can find you a tick. Keep it in my mind while I'm talking. But a lot of the ticks here are large mammal ticks, and they don't really take much notice in our humans, maybe because we don't have the right blood, or we're not the right mammals. They have become species specific ticks. You even get ticks that specialize in tortoises, in being able to drill through the shell of a tortoise. But there are ticks that do bite us humans. In fact, there are a lot of them. Even though most of the ticks go for the animals, there are a lot of ticks that go for us. And they're little red ticks. When they're young, they're tiny little pepper ticks, we call them. If you took some finely ground black pepper and you just took it out once on your hand, that's what it would look like if you had a handful of newly hatched pepper ticks. That's how tiny they are. And that's how impossible it is to find them on your body until they bite and they start sucking your blood, and your lymph nodes, your body starts reacting, and you start getting what might feel like a flea bite or a mosquito bite with a slightly different itch, and you'll notice that the little red bump that results has a tiny little head on it, and that's the tiny little tick that will obviously swell the more blood of yours that it drinks. There's slightly larger little red ticks that maybe one can contract tick bite fever from, which I guess is somewhat similar to Lyme disease, but nowhere near fatal and nowhere near as debilitating or virulent. The tick bite fever that we can get here in South Africa is all about headaches and fever and just general malaise, just general not feeling so great, especially the headache. But fortunately the body builds up somewhat of a resistance to it, and far as I know, you should be able to get tick bite fever more than once. I've had tick bite fever from a tick when I was about 7 years old, and I have been constantly taking ticks off of my body. I live in the bush. I do a lot of walking when I'm not here at Thornybush, and I do other things. I'm foot a lot, so I get a lot of ticks. And I only know they're there because I feel the itch and I get them off. The best thing to do is use paraffin or an oil-based substance, even olive oil to some degree. Coat a little tick, and then of course, sadly, it suffocates it. But hey, my motto is, you want to bite me and try and kill me, then I'm sorry, I'm going to defend myself. Even if you're a little tick and I'm a big human, not being a bully, it's self-defense. Lyme disease, I believe, is quite bad. It's quite fatal. Interesting. I didn't know that it occurred in Europe. I thought it was only sort of North America. That was from ticks that fed on deer blood as well. I learned something new. It's very nasty. Nicola, come in. That's him, but damn. That's not. So good? Okay. Probably about now that we are going through you, signal wise. Not unlocked. Okay, so far so good. Not that it's a great road to do, but when we were doing our tests of where we could go, I suppose there was a lot more vegetation, and this road, all of these roads were no. But it's drying up, and the leaves are falling from the trees, and it is making it a little bit easier for us to access some areas we weren't able to a month ago. Now it looks like it's the end of just a little bit of maybe somebody was stuck again. Sorry about that. We're back. Also, to waste a lot of time because this road is slow moving, and he has only so we're going to go back to Nyalechi Road. Census speciosus. She was serious. There's another one. There's another one. Prettiest flowers. Nobody ever drives. Because 10 to 6 on the main road. They want to bring guests over this kind of experience. Well, I'd say it adds to the experience. Bouncing on really rough roads in Africa. not going to see them today, but if they are going to be heading south, then maybe by tomorrow they'll be back in our part of the world. Helicopter. Grey with a red stripe. So go ahead. Excellent, well done. I'm not going to be able to make it there. I'm going to have to wait till it's closer to nearly. Thanks, Nicola. So we've got to give up on these children. Nicola just found them. She's got them on the entrance road into Malawani, Royal Malawani Lodge. That's down, right down below the bridge that we're on. And so we'll have to wait till tomorrow. So they are heading south. They'll hopefully be back. Tomorrow morning we'll come and check this road again. Seems to be tracks across this road. This is one of the main roads, an east-west road. That's more or less on our northern limit of our signal range. So anything crossing this road to the south comes into our signal range. And while sometimes it's difficult to track down the leopard, that do, it's going to be easy enough to track down the elephant. That do. But for now we'll just, I don't know, what should we do? Just head west. Go west, young man. They're not the only elephants anyway. Maybe there are others in the west that are moving around. Still haven't seen Flo. But that doesn't mean she's not with them. Because I haven't had a really good visual of the entire herd of late. Flo's one of the matriarchs. She tends to take the position of matriarch. But relinquishes it every night to one son or her son. Females of equal ages perhaps, equal wisdom. Fresh buffalo right on top of our face. great for the camera, but it's the best light for looking at tracks. Funny, that's the dichotomy. And when it's the best for me for looking at tracks is the camera. But we won't be looking into the sun for too long. So Blake, Kansas Lake. Said they found a tortoise, and there's the same female with her baby. We saw her this morning. Very different area. Can't go closer right now. Maybe done a very big circle. She was quite far away this morning when Brian and I saw her. They chopped up an 8 tortoise. They didn't chop it up. Chopped its head off, put it underneath the fire to cook overnight. And I'm thinking, some illiterate person or somebody who doesn't understand English is watching that program, and they're flicking through the channels, and they see a cook program, and they see somebody cooking chicken, and then they flick through, and they see game lodges doing a cooking presentation, and then they flick through the channels, and they get to this particular show where they've got 2 hillbillies cooking a tortoise under a fire. What's going to happen to our tortoises? How irresponsible is that? Let's show the world how you cook a tortoise in Africa. Wakey wakey. I can't remember which channel that was. Discovery or Animal Planet or History or I don't know. Anyway, this is very bad taste. The Bear Grylls things when he's eating live snakes and stuff, to some degree I can almost, but not quite, accept. Now she's disappeared with that baby of hers. She must be very nervous. She's a mother waterbuck without sisters and without other females to help her sense danger. She lives in a land of lions. Leopard could take that little one of hers, especially because it lags behind. It doesn't exactly stay right next to her. Always seems to cross the road a couple of seconds after she does. So we got another baby animal that's defying the concept that this is a harsh and dangerous world. Can be at times, whether it survives or not, something we'll have to watch. What shall we call that baby waterbuck? Wanda. Wanda the waterbuck. Like W-A-N-D-A. Wanda. That little Wanda. Yeah, I wonder if she's going to survive. I wonder. But spelled Wanda. It is a wonder that she is doing. It is a wonder that her mother is alone. Wanda the waterbuck. The little, and I'm just assuming, I'm just guessing. Although, I think if it was a female, it would stay close to the mom. Oh, I'm no wonder I'm not hearing anything. Because I must have pressed the scan button. That's okay. What about Brian? Anything for me, Brian? You're welcome, Blake. haven't really seen buffalo and giraffe tracks this afternoon. They're the only animals that have been moving around. This is where we saw the waterbuck this morning with her youngster. So where we were now was a road called Nanzan Road, and we were facing south, and she moved from east to west. And this morning Brian and I were here. This is the road that is east-west, and she was moving from north to south. So she must have gone, excuse me, must have gone south and done a big loop, and she's now heading west again, heading back towards Langwan Dam. No doubt. Langwan Dam seems to be the first time I saw her was that open area just west of Langwan Dam. So that seems to be not her territory, but that's her home range. That's the distance she moved from that water. Being a waterbuck, she's quite water dependent, but she's also dependent on a sufficient area for grazing, and the poorer the grazing, the wider area she has to roam. And of course that becomes the danger, because the wider she has to roam from an area that she knows very well, the more dangerous she's likely to encounter. Case of her going into danger as opposed to staying in one place like Langwan Dam and having to deal with danger when it comes close to her. It's a lot easier when you're an animal that's got a lot of predators. Don't go looking for trouble. Deal with it when it comes to find you. But it's getting dry now, so she has to go looking for grazing. And that means she's putting herself and her calf in danger the further she has to go. Little wonder the waterbuck. Probably has less of a chance than little Billy the wildebeest. Sorry, Dove. We're going to visit Wagman and see if some of those buffalo characters are hanging about. So it might be late. They might be there during the heat of the day. Now it's really hard coming up grade. months that and he had a bit of a scratch on his cheek, and so he's been taking a good, it would have been a left hook, would have taken a good left hook, but it was probably more the Hoden's horn that hit him on the cheek. Still not very strong here. That short. Crocodile out of the water and floating there. Interesting. I think that's the big bull with that. Yeah, that's him on the left. His eyes starting to open up now. Yeah, that's definitely him. Got the new scar on his cheek. So Dina was saying, or asking rather, we're going to sit here for a while, by the way. Late afternoon, peaceful. Who knows what else might come along. We don't really ever get the chance to sit at the dam, and other animals might come and drink. Dina, what am I afraid of in the bush? Okay. I might use your word or your question in a different context. I was trying to think, in the time that it took to get us back to a really good signal area, I was trying to think of an answer for you. Because I ain't afraid of anything. What's that song? I'm a big bad mouse. I go walking through the house, and I'm not afraid of anything. Not even a cat. Not even a cat. Sits upon a mat. Funny, I haven't heard that song in 40 years or something, but it just came back to me. It's kind of weird the way my brain works. That affects me often. I'm a bad, bad mouse. I go stalking through the house. Okay, so this bad mouse ain't afraid of anything. Okay, don't say ain't. I am not afraid of anything in the bush. I'm afraid that the elephants are being killed at too high a rate and nobody's doing anything about it. I'm afraid that the rhino are going to be wiped off of this planet and under the eyes, and the theory why some of the American footballers put black camo, what's this makeup, that black makeup stuff under their eyes, black smudges. But the other reason is, in terms of dominance, in terms of confrontations with each other, it helps with body language. It helps to emphasize the position of the head, because the stripe is in a particular angle in relation to the ears and the eyes and the horns, that with the head held in a particular angle, it emphasizes the intention of the animal. It emphasizes whether he's challenging or submitting, acquiescing. It helps with the body language, because you've got to remember that these animals that have markings for non-verbal communication to a large extent. They can't afford to go around talking to each other and voice their intentions or voice their fears, because there's a limit to how loud you have to talk to be heard, and how soft you have to talk not to be heard by predators. So it is a very important marking when it comes to body language, non-verbal communication. Yeah. What's that? Yeah, it's a little bit bright. Yeah. What's the aperture? Now let's hear a twig break. I want to hear another one. Okay. Carol doesn't say where she's from. Next one. Hello, Heather. Heather from Seattle. Was it Seattle, Brian? Oh, Maine. Ooh. Heather Davies in Maine. Davies, that's Welsh. Like my mum's maiden name, Davis. Supposed to also be Welsh. Hello, Heather. I think Heather's a bit of an arachnophobe. Heather was asking, no, there are a lot of spiders in Africa, but is it overrun with them? No, Heather, it's not. You hardly see spiders, especially this time of the year. I've got a friend who likes to come and visit, and she won't come and visit when the golden orbs are out. But Pam's very much an outdoor person. She breeds horses, she lives on a farm, she's got numerous animals, all sorts of animals, but spiders just get to her. I don't get the whole thing about arachnophobia. I do get it that you have a fear, I do get those sort of things, but it's such an easy fear to overcome, really. When you know anything about a spider, you know that there's absolutely nothing to fear. That it's all in your head. And I can get you over that fear in a day or two. 3 at the most. It's never taken me more than 2 days to get someone over a really bad fear of arachnophobia. Even if they can't look at a picture in the book. Look at that stretch. Oh, Toro. I'll lie down again, maybe. But yes, there are a lot of spiders. There are a lot of different spiders. And especially here in South Africa, let's only talk about South Africa. Hundreds of different species, and of which I think we could say 3 spider species. Only 3 that are maybe potentially, possibly dangerous. But spiders don't just bite. They don't just come and bite you. Spiders are very, very fearful of humans. Okay, I love spiders. I always have. Shall we go? And I'll even say, next time I find a spider, I'll say, it's impossible to hold them on your hands. They just can't stand the smell of us. They can't stand the thought of us. And if some of us humans are scared, we're just going to drink, and that reflection is just too good to miss. Stand still until we're about to leave. That is actually quite amazing. Think of it. That is very pretty. Mirror reflection of a buffalo drinking. Most spiders, so 90% of the spiders that you get all over the world, because you've got to remember that spiders actually don't vary very much around the world, because they're one of the most widely distributed creatures in the whole planet, and that is because of the way they fly around the planet. Yes, they fly. I'll explain that to you another time. But most continents have pretty much the same types of spiders, maybe just different species, and for 90% of them, they're physically incapable of biting. I think what creeps people out a lot is that their 8 legs and the way they move. And that's creepy. That, I don't know. I guess that's possibly what it is, the way they move. The worst thing about phobia is that it blocks off any person's desire to learn about what they fear, or what they're afraid of. And the only way to overcome a fear is to learn something about it and find out how fascinating it really is, and then you know that there's nothing to fear. And the first thing I say to people when they're afraid of something is, how would it feel? Now, if you really have a fear of something that's affecting your life, how would it feel if you could wake up tomorrow and not have that fear anymore? And it is just so easy to overcome if you just listen and feel and just understand that there's nothing to fear. Easier said than done. Trust me. Right, error. Hello, James. Okay, now we can go. Because we're losing light and we want to get closer to home and back to where those leopards were just moving around. James, hello, James. Are there rabbits or hares in our area? Yes and no. Actually, it should be no and yes. No, there are no rabbits, and yes, there are hares. The difference between a rabbit and a hare is the difference between a rat and a mouse. That's a bad analogy. The difference between an impala and a kudu. They're both lagomorphs, but they're different. They have different social structures, they have different habits, they have different ways of living. Rabbits are diurnal and hares are mostly nocturnal, and well, we just don't have any rabbits. In South Africa, in fact, we do not have any significant species of rabbit that are indigenous. There are a couple of species of rabbit that are highly endangered that live on mountains. They're known as rock rabbits, and they must not be confused with the incorrectly named hyraxes, which are some people call rock rabbits, because they are not rock rabbits, they're hyraxes, and they're closer related to elephants than they are to rabbits. And then we have one of the most endangered species of all in southern Africa, an animal known as a riverine rabbit, and it sort of throws the rule books out of the window because the riverine rabbit is a little bit of a mix between a hare and a rabbit in terms of the way it lives and how its young are born, and etc. etc. But we have a species of hare here called the scrub hare, and it's possible that we also get the Cape hare. Now, if you had the scrub hare and the Cape hare sitting in the road together, it would be almost impossible to tell the difference between the two unless you could get them to smile. Because
how do you do that?
then you got to do the chicken dance or something. Yes, exactly. How do you do that? Because one of the primary differences between a Cape hare and a scrub hare is whether they have grooved incisors or not. And the only way to see grooved incisors is to get a hare to smile. And with those funny teeth, you're never going to get one to say, you're never going to know, unless you can find, sadly, a dead specimen or a skull. Scrub hares are nocturnal. They predominantly solitary. They live in pairs. They tend to mate for life, but you don't often see them as a pair. You mostly only see one individual. Being a hare, they live above ground. They don't live in burrows. They have a scraping for a nest. And because they have a scraping for a nest, when their young are born, their young can't be born like a rabbit, which is artificial. The young have to be born precocial, which means that they're able to, like an antelope, able to get up and move around after birth and escape danger. Rabbits, however, I wondered who was talking in my ear, and it was just the volume of this that was very low. I think I can just turn it off for now while I'm talking. Too distracting. He says after he's been distracted. So hares young are born precocial. They move around. There are only maybe two, if maybe three, sorry little doves, emerald spotted. And what else about hares? They're coprophages. Sounds yucky, but they eat their own dung. They have to. Look, giraffes have been eating dropping fruits from the arboretum. In order to gain the maximum amount of nutrition from the grasses that they eat, there's a giraffe that was eating on that tree. Ah. Hello, old man. This is the track that went into that wildebeest kill the other day. I can't take it, but I can't drive it now. Rabbits are born pink and blind, what we call altricial rather than precocial, and they have to be born underground in a burrow, in a den, in a warren, rabbit warren, that's what it's called. Can you imagine a rabbit called Warren? Hello, my name is Warren and this is my warren. Sorry, giraffe doesn't like my jokes. He goes back to eating. Couldn't kill him. But this, he's standing right there where that wildebeest was killed last week. 2 weeks ago, maybe. Oh, that's ridiculous. I should have taken a left turn further back. He thinks. Because Stephen Biko. It's going to take us too far down out of signal range of this road. Okay. Let's do a reverse safari. talking, I'm not keeping track of where I am. Nothing. Probably going to wait to take this road. If it is a road. Or is it a mighty drain? Test, maybe it's a road. Okay, so that was the rabbit and hare story. Oh, here's a question, Blake. What kind of branches of trees in the bush, in the belt, make good walking sticks? The best. I must show you. I'll bring it along tomorrow. Remind me tomorrow. I'll bring along my walking stick, my zebra wood walking stick. Zebra wood makes the most beautiful stick. Tambuti. I've also got a tambuti one. I don't have a chair. I have a tambuti walking stick carved for me by a waiter friend of mine with a warthog tusk on the end from a warthog that I watched was killed by a leopard, and it was one of the biggest warthogs I ever knew, and he was also one of the biggest leopards I knew, and tusk eventually became the end of the walking stick, and it was carved out of Tambuti for me by Elliot, the waiter at Lodge, when I was in my early 20s, 2.5 decades ago. Also nearly dry, this little can. We saw that lion here that one day, big male lion, that young male lion. We saw him, he was even drinking here. Now there's no water for him to drink. Not here. He's with the family on the giraffe kill. They've actually finished that giraffe kill and they've moved on from there. A small pride lion like that, and they've finished the giraffe kill. I've known bigger prides to spend 3 days on a giraffe. So, walking sticks, Tambuti, zebra wood. Wild pear, but they're very, very rare. These terminalias don't make a good stick. Some of the acacias, maybe. What else? Torchwood. Torchwood might make a good one. Problem with the acacias is it's hard to get a really straight piece of wood. And the zebra wood grows so slowly. To find a piece of zebra wood thick enough, and straight enough, because to get a decent walking stick, you've got to start off with a piece of wood that's at least maybe 5-6 inches thick to get any decent black heartwood out of. Oh, this is just a loop. That's okay. I know where we are. Just a tiny little loop at this little pan called three-banded plover pan or something. Okay. Just a little loop that goes back onto the Spene Road that we were on. We were doing our reverse safari. But, three-banded pan. And I wanted to take Shinana Road, not go all the way down Buffalo Link. So we'll go back to... Oh, we can go through... Can actually go further down Buffalo Link to get to that other pan. I wasn't concentrating, I thought we'd been past that pan already, past Buffalo Link. Maybe we have, maybe my map's wrong, maybe I'm reading it upside down, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe we'll find something else. Excuse me. Well, temperatures are dropping fast. Time to start layering up, I guess. Hello. I just supposed you to say yes, you have to, because it's Carol. Hello. There's a 4-leaf clover. I saw it driving. Look at that. There's a 4-leaf clover. I saw it driving in second gear.
How lucky is that?
Very lucky. But wait. If you call now, you get 2 free 4-leaf clovers. Dial 1-800 4-leaf clover. $79.99 per 4-leaf clover. 2 free package deal. Only lasts till midnight tonight. Okay, they're not really 4-leaf clovers. They do look like clovers, and they're an aquatic plant. This was a puddle here next to us. Must have been a little pan of water. Probably had tree frog nests in it in the summer, and it's a particular species of plant. They all have 4 leaves, so I'm just teasing. Yeah. Hello, Carol. Nice to hear from you, Carol Rosalind. Haven't heard from you in a while. Nice to have you on board. Okay, your piece back in. Did Carol have a question? Or just a hello? Let's clutch more gas. Where was I? Before I was interrupted with 4-leaf clovers and telesales. I think I'd make a good telesales person. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. Because there's a place called Lindy. I was thinking if Carol was asking if I drove to Lindy. But no, Carol is asking on my last trip to Tanzania. Not Tanzania. Tanzania. Did I drive my Landy? Not go to Lindy. Did I drive? No, I didn't. No, I didn't, Carol. In my Landy, it would have... No, it wouldn't have worked. Okay, this is the road I was looking for. Thinking we'd been past it already. Because I do like coming past that road to look at this old mud wallow. Just because there's no water doesn't mean that there's... Because there's a beautiful scotia up there in the Jefferberry that could easily... There's a baker that was there, ran away. Termite mound then, sort of crying for a leopard. No, Carol, I didn't drive up. I couldn't drive up because I had to go straight to Ruaha National Park. So I flew to Dar es Salaam. I got there late afternoon, in fact early evening. I was checked into a very fancy hotel in Oyster Bay. It was next to the Sheraton. Does it count if it was next to the Sheraton? Slipway Hotel, very pretty little place, very impressive. And then at 5 o'clock the next morning I left. I didn't even enjoy being in a hotel room because I was so excited to get to Ruaha. But to drive my Land Rover, a few thousand k's that it would take 2,000 miles, it would take forever. It would probably take me about a month to rate my Land Rover drive, and it would probably cost me everything I earned in Sydney just to drive it there and back. So I opted out for the free air ticket I was given by the people who I was working for. They flew me up there. They paid for me to drive a Land Rover every day for nearly 3 months. Sometimes it was a Land Cruiser, and I guess when you're getting paid to do that, you can't be fussy. But it's still, Land Cruiser was fine. Didn't have to use four-wheel drive, so I didn't get stuck. I'm glad I'm entertaining you. And then they flew me back. I would love to have had my Landy there, but it's a little bit old, and at the moment she's only firing on 3 cylinders, and I think she has to have her engine opened up and new rings put in. Got to give her a new ring. Bad enough. Gave her a new engine 2 years ago. But it's getting tired, it's getting old, and the other thing was that I did a 2,000 kilometer trip with her in December. Came back from Tanzania and I thought I could take myself on holiday for a little bit because I'd never done that before. And drove it down to visit an old school friend on the coast, north of Durban, way north of Durban, where Penny and Bobby live. I went to a place called Zinkwazi and ended up, believe it or not, meeting up with one of my heroes, Kingsley Holding. We saw my Landy and he recognized it. We were at a big barbecue on one of the big sugarcane estates, really private affair. And sadly Kingsley had lost his wife a couple of months before, a woman who was instrumental in making a lot of his charity trips around Africa, on the equator, all of Kingsley's stuff. His wife is one of the stalwarts, one of the, well, she was just really an amazing person. And sadly she passed away due to cancer. But I think Kingsley decided he'd head out, and he came along with one of the chaps that he takes on his expeditions, who does all the medic stuff for them on their expeditions. And we had a good chat, and then he lives in that little town of Zinkwazi. It's quite amazing. His house, beautiful house, but the road that goes past his house is sort of at the edge of the little village of Zinkwazi. And he's got this sign on both sides of his house facing outwards. On the street, beware elephant crossing, and of course there are no elephants there. And occasionally, every now and then, he brings back elephant dung from the bush. He leaves it in the road in his house when there's these signs, beware elephant crossing. And that was enough of a trip, boy. It's the last time I take this Landy on a long trip like that. I think she's going to now have to retire in the bush. She's good enough to get me from here to home and from home to town, in and out. Oh, there goes the Nyala running away. But I don't even think I can drive her up to Johannesburg. That's only, 350 miles, 500 kilometers. So I don't think I'd take them even back up to the city again. Although, having said that, I swore that one day I was going to park my Land Rover on the plaza at Melrose Arch, in front of all those restaurants. I want to drive it onto the pavement. Okay, for us pavement, by the way, for Americans, for us pavement means sidewalk, whereas in America pavement means actual road. So for me, when I say pavement, I'm going to drive it up onto the sidewalk into this big piazza that is surrounded by restaurants, because it's only the Humvees and the Ferraris and the Lamborghinis that get to park there, and I want to take my dirty little old Land Rover and park it and drive on top of them even. I better not do that. I can't afford to drive my Land Rover on top of it. Hello, zebra. That's quite a nice shot with the background. There's a pregnant mare. You can see she's pregnant. One at the back there. Second from the front. Second from the back, depending on which way you look at it. 2, 4, 6, 8. A little herd of 8. We haven't seen this herd before. While we're watching zebra, I'm just going to put on something warmer. Here's the warmer thing. Without moving it. Must do for the time being. Now that they're relaxed, I'm going to see if I can get a little bit closer to them because they seem to be grazing again. Hello, Ria and Roodepoot. Roodepoot in South Africa. Roodepoot is how someone else would say it. In South Africa will say Roodepoot. Roodepoot. And Roodepoot is west of Johannesburg on what we call the West Rand. Very nice to have you with us, Ria. I'm really glad. Don't have enough South Africans joining us on these drives. Hello, Mangwa. Hello, Zebbies. That one, you can see that one's also got a scar from a lion. You can see that one stripe on its rump sort of goes like a cursive bracket because there was a scratch. Oh, you are standing away. So there must have been a claw mark there that ripped her hide, and when the wound healed, the stripes didn't match up again. The stripes never match up after they've been clawed by lions. But sadly, they've moved deeper into the bush now. Interesting that they're heading down here. It's possibly because they're coming closer to the river. There's better grazing, there's better stuff down here at the river, more permanent stuff. And away from the river, it's going to dry out a little bit. Maybe we're going to see a little seasonal movement happening with more animals coming down to the river. It's about time. We've had very little days down at the river. So Ria in Roodepoort wants to know, we only drive around Thornybush, or do we also drive around Kruger? At the moment, Ria, only Thornybush for the time being. We used to drive around in the northern Sabi Sands. We are limited because we're broadcasting. Basically what we are doing is we have base station, and we are able to transmit to that base station, and we're limited with distance, sort of line of sight more than anything else. And because of that, we can't go even further into Thornybush, let alone into Kruger for the time being. But who knows, one day when satellite technology improves or internet technology improves, maybe we could do better than this. For the time being, southern regions just north of the Orphan Road. Ria will probably know the Orphan Road quite well. No doubt has visited to Kruger Park, living in Roodepoort, which is only 530 kilometers away. East-south, just south of the boundary of Thornybush. Between Thornybush and that road, there's a main road that goes into Kruger called the Orphan Road. There is a buffer zone. That prevents the lion and elephant and the bigger stuff from getting onto that main road, and hippos, stuff that can cause problems with the local communities that live on that road. Now, I think we're going to lose signal for a little while. We're not quite the way to go before the end of the drive. I want to get the other side before we say goodbye, because that's where there were leopard tracks this morning. That's why I've come back here. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to get through this little section. I'll be back with you in like... Watch this space. Pardon? Well, that's good. I try sometimes. What's going on the radio. Sounds like somebody's got something. Yeah, no signal up there, sadly. But thanks anyway. Okay, yeah, that's just out of signal range. Okay, so the elephant are drinking at a place called Bushvilla Dam, which is at the entrance to Royal Malawan. Don't get signal there, and but they got a female leopard way up in the north. Not good for them. Don't know if we block again. Don't know if audio but no picture. Okay, this little bed. Once I go around the bed, I say a lot. I'm around the bed already. But once I go around this bed, then we'll get. Hello, little impala boy. You just leopard food right now. You're the little boy that was hanging out with the Nyala. What did they ditch you? Yeah, he's not happy about something. There's something up ahead. He's not even looking at us. He's more concerned with something up here. Let me just get up to the top of the road. Surely we don't need to recycle anything by this time. Okay, let me just doesn't have an error, but alright, we'll try and recycle. See, there were humans here. Can you smell that potato smell? Where is it? Potato bush. Oh, warthog. Big warthog, must have been around. Very strong potato bush smell. Okay, can we recycle that and code it? Take the kettle plug out, plug it in again. That's there, down there. Can't reach that. So is that main wire? Yeah. I'll plug it.